Council Barton? Present. Council Cahill? Present. Council Capano? Present. Council Calucci? Present. Council Creighton? Present. Council Seer? Present. Council Ford? Present. Council Lozey? Present. Council Net? Present. Council Phelan? Present. Council Trahan? Present. 11 present. Need a motion to accept the minutes of March 26th.
So moved. Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can we all please rise for a moment of silence? Also, if we could remember Kathy Costin, wife of former superintendent of schools, passed away today. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we need a motion to accept the minutes of March 26th.
So moved.
Made, seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Communications?
We have communication from Catherine Latham, the superintendent of schools. State Council President, thank you for allowing an emergency vote by the City Council to support the Lynn School Department in the filing of a statement of interest to the Massachusetts School Building Authority for the refurbishment replacement of Pickering Middle School. This is not an application for funding and in no way commits the MSBA or the City of Lynn to any school building project. This merely allows Lynn to add one school building project for consideration if the MSBA chooses to select Lynn to enter into the building pipeline. The MSBA has already entered the Marshall Middle School into its pipeline as a priority project. Resolved, having convened in an open meeting on April 9, 2013, the Lynn City Council, City of Lynn, in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinance, will vote to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form dated April 10, 2013 for the Pickering Middle School located at 70 Canomo Avenue, which describes and explains the following deficiency in the priority categories for which application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future for elimination of existing severe overcrowding, prevention of severe overcrowding expected to result from increased enrollments, replacement, renovation, or modernization of school facility systems such as roofs, windows, boilers, heating, and ventilation systems to increase energy conservation expected and decrease energy-related costs in a school facility, replacement of or addition to obsolete buildings in order to provide a full range of programs consistent with state and approval local requirements, and hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting the statement of interest from the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or approval of an application, the awarding of a grant, or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits the District of Lynn to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority.
What's the wish of the council? Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Council Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Cahill? Yes. Council Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Council Calucci? Yes. Council Creighton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Council Ford?
Yes.
Yes. Council Lozey?
Yes.
Yes. Council Net?
Yes.
Yes. Council Phelan?
Yes.
Yes. Council Trahan?
Yes.
Yes. 11 yes.
Is there a motion for an emergency as requested by the superintendent?
Yes.
Motion made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Council Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Council Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Council Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Council Creighton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Council Ford?
Yes.
Yes. Council Lozey?
Yes.
Yes. Council Net?
Yes.
Yes. Council Phelan?
Yes.
Yes. Council Trahan?
Yes.
Yes. 11 yes. We have a communication from Donald Walker, Office of Economic and Community Development. Dear Councilors, on behalf of the Office of Economic and Community Development and the Lynn Housing Authority and Neighborhood Development, we are requesting that you schedule a public hearing with the Lynn City Council on Tuesday, May 14th. The purpose of this hearing is to allow public input into the city's annual action plan, including the use of the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Sincerely, Donald Walker, Director of Project Operations.
What's the wish of the council? Motion made and seconded to set down. Discussion. Roll call.
Council Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Council Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Council Calucci? Yes, Counsel Creighton.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Ford.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey. Yes, Counsel Net.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Phelan.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Trahan.
Yes.
Yes, 11 yes. Public hearings, petitioner Chef's House, James McElvey, for permission for an eat-in restaurant with a wine and malt license at 34 Acorn Street. Hours Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Seeing no one wishing to speak in favor, close the public hearing for all those in favor. Open the public hearing for anybody in opposition. Anybody wish to speak in opposition? Anybody in opposition? Seeing no one wish to speak in opposition, close the public hearing for all those in opposition. Close the public hearing. Counsel Calucci.
Denied.
I'll take that as a motion. Denied. Seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Cahill?
Yes?
Yes. Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Creighton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Ford?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Phelan?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Trahan?
Yes.
Yes. 11 yes. Next petition, petitioner Golden Onion Rings, Paula Robles, for permission for preparation, sales, and delivery of onion rings at 271 Weston Avenue, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 12 midnight.
Open the public hearing for anybody wishing to speak in favor. Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Seeing no one wishing to speak in favor, close the public hearing for all those in favor. Open the public hearing for anybody in opposition. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Anybody in opposition? Seeing no one wishing to speak in opposition, close the public hearing for all those in opposition. Close the public hearing. Counsel Lozey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think there's a discrepancy on the hours. If I could ask the clerk to check the permit.
That's what I have on the application.
Okay. My understanding, could I see the application? Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to table this.
Motion made and seconded to table, which is non-debatable. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Creighton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Ford?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Phelan?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Trahan? Yes. 11 yes. Next petition is petitioner Comcast Timothy Broderick for permission to place 1 4-inch PVC underground conduit 50 feet plus or minus in a northwesterly direction to property at 510 Washington Street.
Open the public hearing if anybody wishing to speak in favor.
Good evening, my name is Timothy Broderick, I'm with Comcast, 55 Concord Street, North Reading, in favor of the petition.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Anybody else in favor? Seeing no one else wishing to speak in favor, close the public hearing for all those in favor. Open the public hearing for anybody in opposition. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Anybody in opposition? Seeing no one wishing to speak in opposition, close the public hearing for all those in opposition. Close the public hearing. Counsel Creighton.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Creighton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Ford?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Phelan?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Trahan?
Yes.
Yes. 11 yes. Next petition is the petition of Rossetti Restaurant Group, Robert Rossetti, for permission for a food establishment with an all-alcoholic beverage license at 41 Sutton Street with hours of operation as follows: Closed Monday, Tuesday through Thursday, 4 to 11 p.m., Friday, 4 p.m. to 12 a.m., Saturday, 2 p.m. to 12 a.m., and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m., except those days when the Veterans Memorial Auditorium, Lynn City Hall, has scheduled events.
Open the public hearing for anybody wishing to speak in favor. Mr. President, through you to members of the council, I'm Attorney Sam Vitale. I'm here with Bob Rossetti, who is the principal of the Rossetti Restaurant Group. I appreciate you taking us on board. I'll try to be brief because I see you have serious business after this. Bob is owner of Cafe Rossetti, which is in Winthrop. As you know, and members of the council know, you welcomed Demici's production facility to the old Highway and Shea building here on Sutton Street. And because of that success, as that building is being rehabbed, Bob has been dealing with the EDIC and with the city of Lynn, and I might add that he said to me, having done business in Revere, done business in Winthrop, that the reception he received here in Lynn has been the best in his business career. He wishes to open his Italian restaurant. It's a higher scale, upscale facility. Part of it is the success of the auditorium and the programs that go there. As the clerk indicated, his schedule would reflect when there are events at the auditorium. Otherwise, it would be essentially evenings and dinner. He seeks two things. One is permission for a food establishment for the Italian restaurant, and the second is to sell alcoholic beverages. That's the nature of his request. We go before the license board also this month to seek their approval, and we're hopeful that the council will act favorably on this so that we can bring another new business to the city of Lynn. It'll employ between 15 and 20 people. It'll be part of what has been the Bible of the area here around the City Hall auditorium. I'd be glad to answer any questions that any member may have.
Thank you. No, we'll conclude the hearing first if anybody has any questions. Thank you, Attorney Vitale. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Anybody else in favor? Anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Do we have a letter of support?
We have a letter in support from EDIC. James M. Cardell, Executive Director, is writing in support of full support of Rossetti's Restaurant, which is before your honorable body tonight.
Thank you. Seeing no one else wishing to speak in favor, close the public hearing for all those in favor. Open the public hearing for anybody in opposition. Anybody in opposition? Anybody in opposition? Seeing no one wishing to speak in opposition, close the public hearing for all those in opposition. Close the public hearing. Council Creighton.
Mr. President, through you to the members, I'd like to just ask a few questions to the petitioner's attorney.
Attorney Vitale. Thank you.
Mr. Vitale, just to clarify, in addition to the hours that are listed here, you'll be open for the nights that the auditorium is having open?
Right, that's correct.
Okay.
Is there a time that you're going to close? I just want to make sure that you have it.
We have hours that say, I think, not later than midnight any evening. The restaurant's closed on Mondays, but as you know, often Monday holidays, there are events here. And actually, to be compatible with what Demici's is doing, Demici's plans to open a facility, a retail facility, a small one, generally from the hours of like 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. Demici's will sell breakfast and bakery items and some lunch items. They're not in competition. Rossetti's is going to be serving dinner, and they've generally been open at 4 p.m. There are two exceptions. One is on Saturdays and Sundays, they'll open earlier because the Demici's shop will be closed as far as retail goes, and the ability to serve lunch on Saturday or Sunday. Then the only other exception is whenever there's some major event scheduled or an event scheduled at the auditorium, to service people who are coming here to those events, they would wish to be open, but they would not ever be open later than that.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. President, through you to the members, I'd like to speak in favor of this petition. I've had a chance to dine at their restaurant in Winthrop many times. More importantly, my fiance is a big fan of it, so I'm not as conscious. So I'm that here tonight. So I think it ties in greatly with our development downtown and obviously the auditorium, so I applaud the work Jim Cowdell as well as Jamie Marsh has done in coordination with the Rossetti family, and I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Councilor Creighton, I just want to just follow up. Did you want to add those words until midnight on, after the word accept, until midnight on those days when Veterans Memorial Auditorium, just for clarification?
Yeah, if that makes sense to the clarification. Yes.
We'll put that in the form of a motion as amended, seconded by Councilor Capano. Any discussion? Councilor Cahill?
Thank you, Mr. President. I know we're busy, but I just don't want to belabor this. I guess I don't understand why you didn't put the language in a closed Monday. If he's successful, which I hope you are, do you really want to go through the rigmarole of coming back to us and having to go through this entire process again? It's torturous to me. I I want you to succeed, so why come back? Just put the hours in and we'll be done with it. Open when you want to open, close when you want to close.
I know that generally that is a concern of the council. The reason for Mondays is that people need a day of rest. And so a restaurant, which is open generally on Saturdays and Sundays, takes Monday as their day off of the staff management. However, the way that petition was filed and worded, if there were, and there have been, events, as you know, Mondays are often federal or state holidays, they would be open on those Mondays. So there are 9 or 10 Monday holidays where if Lynn Veterans had a ceremony, or if there was an act that was booked to come into the city, they would be open. But it was really, no, we don't want to have to come back, but I do think it was to provide some flexibility for the people who work at the restaurant.
No, and I agree, but we don't. So you have here 4 to 11 Tuesday and Thursday. It's not like the city council meeting come down and you close at 10 o'clock. What I'm saying is,
Well, don't forget, I have to go to the license board after this, and that ultimately they have regulations that pertain to the hours of operation. What we wanted to do is be within the window of, we didn't want to be a club, have 1 a.m. closings. It's clearly not that kind of an operation. So, within the parameters.
concerning the town, it exceeds mine by decades. If that's how you want it, it's fine with me.
I think we're comfortable with that, and that it would work.
Okay. Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call as amended.
Council Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Council Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Council Calucci? Yes. Council Creighton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Council Ford?
Yes.
Yes. Council Lozey? Yes. Council Net?
Yes.
Yes. Council Phelan?
Yes.
Yes. Council Trahan?
Yes.
Yes. 11 yes. Next public hearing is a public hearing on an ordinance to establish a bill of rights for homeowners in the city of Lynn.
I'd like to open the public hearing if anybody wishes to speak in favor, but I'm hoping the audience will indulge me and we could recognize the Essex County South Register of Deeds, John O'Brien, who's a former Lynn City Councilor and has the distinction of being the youngest city councilor ever to serve in these chambers. Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here this evening to speak in favor of the homeowners protection ordinance that is before this honorable body. Just a little bit of history. I was approached some months ago by my good friend, Ward 6 Councilor Peter Capano, at a reception for another good friend of mine, Donna Capolas. And he, at that time, told me that he was working with a group of individuals who were trying to draft an ordinance, a responsible and reasonable approach to what has become a national nightmare, and that is the destruction of neighborhoods and the destruction of land records across this country, and the fact that so many people have been foreclosed on. He came over to my office and he brought with him Isaac Hobbs from Lynn United for Change. And we tossed the ideas around, and I said to him, sounds good to me. What bank would be opposed to mandatory, sitting across the table mediation to solve some homeowner who was being foreclosed on? I believe in that, and I'll tell you why I believe in it. Because people today call an 800 number. They talk to a loan servicer. They didn't send in the right paper. It's just a merry-go-round that goes through every single day. And certainly, in the old days, in this ordinance, as you all know, doesn't really affect local Main Street banks. They're doing the job. They're obeying the law. It's the 5, 6, 7 big boys, Bank of America, J.P. Morgan Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, Deutsche Bank, and the list goes on and on and on. And I told him, that sounds reasonable to me, and that they would put up a $10,000 bond in case the property falls in disrepair. And I don't have to tell the ward councilors here, when a home is in disrepair, it's foreclosed on, and a person is put out in the street, that home becomes a blight on the neighborhood. But it does something else. It affects your property values. Because when the bank goes in and sells that property for half of what is originally owned, that's the new comp in your neighborhood. And for those of you who don't understand that, it's very important, because the appraisal industry today is very, very scared to come up with an appraiser like they used to do in the old days for property. So if a house is owed $200,000 to Bank of America and is foreclosed on and sold at public auction for $100,000, guess what? That's what your house is worth in that street. So certainly we want to stop that. I said, no problem with that. We want to allow people to stay in their homes until the last gun is fired, till they've exhausted every means they can to pay that mortgage, have it rewritten, have the term extended, the interest rate reduced, whatever it's going to take to keep the homeowner in that particular home. I said, no problem there. I said, okay, why do you need me? And he said, we need you because you were the first register of deeds in the United States and the only register of deeds in the United States that will not record robo-signed fraud documents. I said, that's good. Why do you need me? He said, because we want you to agree that unless these big banks comply with all of the recommendations and all of the law that's in this ordinance, that you will agree not to record that foreclosure deed. And I looked him in the eye and I said, you got me. I'll do that in a heartbeat. As time went on, we had subsequent meetings. Council President Tim Phelan got deeply involved with Peter Capano. My dear friend Grace Ross, who's just been phenomenal, Isaac Holds, Maria Carrazzo from the school committee, the list goes on and on, Kevin Harvey from my office. And before you tonight is a solid, responsible piece of legislation, or I wouldn't be standing here. I'm not looking for a photo op. I'm not looking for a wink, wink, nod, nod to the banks. This has teeth. For once, a government agency is going to be able to tell these major lenders, enough's enough. You have to follow the rules. Let me tell you something. When I started this odyssey 2.5 years ago, it started from a citizen in the city of Lynn who came to my office, who I thought was nuts. And she's in the audience tonight, and she doesn't get offended by that. When we listened to her story, and Kevin Harvey came to me 2 days later and said, she's not a screwball, John. I said, okay, we all deal with people. And we listened, and we found out that what she was telling us was right. So I immediately started. And sadly, I began this fight, and I began it all alone. But I'm right, and I'll tell you why I'm right. Because the banks have said from day one, there's no fraud. John O'Brien doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, on April 29th of this month, in the Middle District Federal Court in Jacksonville, Florida, a woman by the name of Lorraine Brown, who pled guilty 2 months ago, is going to be sentenced to federal prison. Lorraine Brown is president and owner of a company called DocX. DocX prepares the fraudulent documents. They are owned now by a company called LPS, Loan Processing Services, who also file fraudulent documents, who are owned by Fidelity. Do we need to connect the dots here? We understand what we're up against. Lorraine Brown has admitted that her company has infected registries of deeds across this country with well over $2 million phony documents, 10,000 of which sit in the Salem Registry of Deeds. And you want to know another nice statistic about it? 95% of those DocX documents are on people's homes who are not in foreclosure. People like you who are paying your mortgage and don't even know that they've infected your chain of title until someday, when you go to refinance your home, and the bank is going to sit across the table from you and say, you have a phony signature. Oh, we can't get title insurance. And the homeowner's going to have to retain legal counsel to go in and clear that chain of title. That's wrong. That's what I've been fighting. That's why in Florida on the 29th, I'm asking a federal judge to give me $1.5 million for the people in Essex County, just so we can have an additional audit to go forth and see how many more documents are in there. Now, I read with interest in the Lynn item the comments from the Mass Bankers Association's lobbyist, and that's what he is. He said, I have an ongoing feud with the mortgage industry. What I have is an ongoing attempt to have them comply with the law. The little banks comply with the law. They do. I can show you the number of foreclosures. They're under 5. One of the major banks, 1 foreclosure. You get into the big boys, there's tons of foreclosures. He said that I don't have the authority to not record the foreclosure deed. Well, I can tell you this. I've been there since 1977. I'm the keeper of the records. My charge is to protect the integrity and the accuracy of their every single day in that registry, and I'm going to continue to do it. And yes, I have the authority to do this. And if they disagree, and I know I'm being a little bit cavalier here, but if they disagree, sue me. I've been threatened to be sued by the major banks in this country for over 2.5 years. I actually want to be sued because I want to get into discovery. Because once we're into discovery, you're going to find that the 38,000 documents sitting on my conference table is just the beginning. Because of the assignment, well, let me tell you something. The instruments that were recorded prior to it are as corrupt as that assignment. So I don't know if anybody's here from the Mass Bankers Association or from J.P. Morgan Chase or Bank of America. I've invited the 5 CEOs of those banks to come to Salem and look at the instruments. And I invited the Mass Bankers. So I thought tonight I would have a little show and tell for them. This is what sits. This is what the major banks have done in this country. This is 38,000 fraudulent documents that are corrupting people's chains of title and damaging not only the economy of this country, but it's damaging the neighborhoods of not only the city of Lynn, but throughout the country. I'm sorry. And I invite anyone to come over to Salem and see the crime scene firsthand. There. I'm going to be very brief because I know we have other speakers, but I want to explain something to you. These banks entered into a criminal conspiracy. They crossed state lines to record fraudulent documents. They attempted to obtain people's property by using fraudulent means. They uttered forged documents. They used the United States mail to mail these documents to the registries throughout the United States, thereby committing mail fraud. Every CEO of those banks I mentioned should have been indicted, should have been arrested, and they should be in jail. Let me tell you why I say that. Because in the United States of America, whether someone pays their mortgage or they can't pay their mortgage, you do not go into a court of law and take someone's home away using fraud. You're just trust me, most of these people in foreclosure today in the city of Lynn and across this country were set up for failure from day one. They were lent money by banks that the banks knew these people couldn't pay back. But in closing, I want to mention one thing to you. I'm delighted to be a part of this tonight, because believe me, and I don't want anyone to think I'm being arrogant here, but if I didn't do this, these banks would snub their nose at you, the ordinance of the city of Lynn. They could care less. Because let me tell you why. They wrote a check for $25 billion. That would be like Darren's. I served with Darren's father, giving me 25 cents. And they were told basically, go in your office and think about what you did. And then go to the boardroom and we can all drink champagne. And that's what they did. They got away with creating the largest scandal in the history of the United States. They say they're Americans. You know what the backbone of this country is? The land recordation system. It's people's property rights. It's why people come to this country, because they can own a home. And at any time, they can go to their registries of deeds. That's why we were created, so that you can see who owns it. Today, I can't look anyone in the eye and tell you who owns their mortgage. I don't know, and neither do the banks. And there's another little interesting part when this ordinance passes tonight. It's the fact that there's another law on the books, which we're going to enforce in Salem, and that is you must show that you are the owner of the note and the mortgage. They can't do that because they sold people's mortgages 5, 10, 15 times in exotic financial instruments sold all over the world, and they could have cared less. They destroyed this economy, and they ought to be ashamed of themselves. But let me tell you something that no one knows. They said, we'll never do this again. We'll never record a robo sign. Please, we'll never do it. Well, my friends, last Thursday afternoon, this is what appeared on my desk. It's an assignment of mortgage from Bank of America, signed by Beverly Brooks. Beverly Brooks has been on my no-record list for 2.5 years. She's a known robo-signer. And guess what but the interesting thing is, guess when they notarized her signature? March 25th of 2013. Now, they did 2 of these to me. Of all places, they sent them to me. Immediately, we sent them back with our standard affidavit that says, we'll record it, just sign here, attesting to the authenticity of Beverly Brooks' signature. In the hundreds that we've sent them to the banks over the years, not one bank has ever signed that affidavit. And if that doesn't tell you how guilty they are, well, that's the way it is. They're doing this across the state because other registers of deeds, sadly, are not doing what I'm doing. They're doing it across the country, and it's wrong. I love this city, and I love the neighborhoods in this city. And I love people. The city of Lynn has always been the city of firsts. Tonight, you have the opportunity to make history. You are poised to pass a piece of legislation that has responsible, reasonable approach to solving this problem. You have a register of deeds that will honor the law of the city of Lynn, unlike major banks. You can make history tonight. You can send a message loud and clear that at least in the city of Lynn, we're not going to take this anymore. You have to sit across the table and do anything you can to help people stay in their homes. You have to make sure that if you take it home, it's not falling into disrepair. And you have to be an American and do the right thing again and start acting like a responsible banks used to act before they all went completely crazy with greed and everything else and destroyed people's lives. It's wrong. I urge you to pass this. I'll cover your back, believe me. They want a soup, come on in. Thank you very much.
Lynn. I refinanced my home some years ago. I thought I signed for fixed rate. So happens that when the paperwork came back, that wasn't so. I lost my home to foreclosure. I'm now fighting to get it back. But this shouldn't have happened. Councilors, I'm asking you, please, vote for this. We need this. We want this. We deserve it. I deserve it. I worked hard to get my home, just to have it taken away by a bank. I thought the people I was sending my payments to was the people that was the bank. Come to find out they weren't. I found out who my bank was when I received those foreclosure papers. Please, vote this into law. We need it.
My name is Dawn Jenkins, and I'm the crazy constituent of Mr. O'Brien's. You know, I remember the day in 2010 when I sent him a fax because I didn't have any paper to send him a mail. And I wrote right on the fax, I'm coming down there to arrest your bond, Mr. O'Brien, because you know what? What's going on in that registry of deeds just isn't right. I'm coming down there to let you know that what you're allowing to go on in there is just not proper. Maybe you don't know what's going on, so let me just come down and talk to you. So I went down, I talked to Kevin Harvey, and as the story goes thereafter, they both looked at each other the next day and they said, "You sure you want to start this?" And you know what? I never write letters to politicians. I never write to the Attorney General. I never make phone calls because I don't think that it ever works. But for whatever reason, this particular day, I was compelled to do that. And to make a long story short, because there's many people behind me, he's changed the lives of so many people, and all of you can do the same thing. What these banks are doing, I'm part of a foreclosure group here in Massachusetts, and we help each other educate ourselves about the fraudulent documents that are put into the public record and what they can do to defend themselves as a pro se in the court. And it's mind-boggling what goes on in these emails just in the course of the day with everything that's changing in this world. But John O'Brien is one of, I don't even know any other registrars across this country that's doing what he's doing. And again, long story short, in my case, Zibuha is a known robo-signer for Wells Fargo Bank. They filed an affidavit into the land court to foreclose on my house in 2010. She signed the affidavit 3 days before the assignment took place with Wells Fargo allegedly owning my house. That, you don't testify to something before it occurs. So they foreclosed on my house in September in 2010, but I'm still in my house and I'm not leaving.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilors, for the record, my name is Rich Mullen. I live at 48 Carter Road. I'm the Legislative Director of the Massachusetts Building Trades Council. I'm here representing the North Shore Labor Council, and we encourage you strongly to support this legislation and pass it tonight. I think it's time somebody finally stood up to the banks. I think this is a piece of legislation. This is the City Council to do it. I think the time is right, so let's get this thing passed and let's show the banks that nobody's too big that they can actually push everybody around. Thank you very much.
My name is Don Greenleaf. I urge the City Council to pass this ordinance. A little bit about my story is I'm self-employed. The economy crashed, because of what the banks were doing. I basically contacted my bank before I ever missed a payment to tell them I was running out of savings, and if there was anything I could do to work it out. They basically gave me the runaround. I sent them payments. They sent them back. They refused to take payments from me. They foreclosed on me in August of 2011. In support of everyone here, I was able to purchase my home back. It's almost been a year now, but I believe that the mediation was in place. no one sitting at that table would take my home away from me. Second thing is, you know, they had no sympathy for me and my family. I owned the home for 10 years. I worked hard to buy it. I had no idea where I was going to go. Basically, my kids were going to be homeless. My house was going to be uprooted. And, you know, it should have never happened. I don't think the courts would have been tied up with me. The bank wouldn't have had to spend the money to go through the process of trying to evict me. And, you know, I think that we have the opportunity to stop this, to stop other people. And I think that the people that didn't take the time to stand and fight like I did, who lost their ability. So I urge you again, and I'd like to thank the Register John O'Brien and Kevin for standing with us. We're fortunate. Thank you.
I'm Reverend Jane Gould, a Lynn homeowner and rector of St. Stephen's Episcopal Church on the Common. And Episcopalians really aren't known for bringing their Bibles with them when they approach pulpits or podiums. But it did seem that Jeremiah kind of set the context for today when he said, "Woe to him who builds his house by unrighteousness, and his upper rooms by injustice, who makes his neighbors work for nothing, and does not give them their wages, who says, I will build a palace for myself with large upper rooms." I'm here because as a person of faith, I must stand with those in my parish who are losing their homes to foreclosure. So I've stood with Lynn United for Change outside houses of members of my parish when Bank of America has come to auction them off. Auction off homes when the other arm of Bank of America says, "Oh, we're in modification proceedings here. Oh no, we don't talk to each other." Why would we, right? Why would we? Because there are people who live here in this house for generations, who live here, who call this home, who work to pay their mortgage, who work to maintain a stable downtown Lynn community. As a pastor, folks say, "Oh, well, go to the church, they can help you out." Help you out? When the banks come, they aren't giving people time and space to have anybody help them out. They just want you out. We have an ordinance before us now that simply says to banks, the big boys, and the local banks, you gotta mediate. You gotta sit down at the table. You gotta modify loans. Heaven knows there's money available for the banks to modify loans. It's not even gonna hurt them to modify. And yet they just won't bother. And we know that then when they foreclose, our property values go down and our neighborhoods decline. So what does this resolution say? It says we want to keep people in their homes, we want banks to mediate, and if by some chance there is no solution other than foreclosure, by golly, maintain that property, maintain our housing stock. You all have an opportunity here tonight to make a difference in the lives of citizens of Lynn. Our foreclosure rate is almost double the state average. We need to protect our neighborhoods. We need to protect our people. And for me, this is not a political statement. This is a faith statement. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Colleen Spagnoli. I own a house at 205 Lynn Shore Drive. I went to school in Lynn all my life, as well. we came so close to losing our house that you couldn't got any closer. I'm asking you all this evening to vote in favor of this ordinance so that people out there now won't have to go through what my family went through and others, to know that they'll have support. I didn't have, when they first started the foreclosure process on the house, we were scared, you get sick, it affects all parts of your life. And then I saw that there was Lynn United for Change, and then I felt like I wasn't alone anymore. And my story is a success story. We did through Lynn United and all these people here this evening that gave me this support and encouragement. That after the struggle of years and all the heartache and sleepless nights and sickness, we did get our house back. But with this ordinance, maybe it would save people all the anger and all the anxiety that I had to go through. So I just ask you to, maybe you'll help a lot of people who vote in favor of this. Thank you.